here is where I go into the next section, 1.2. Okay, and I'm not going to keep walking through each one of these. I wanted to kind of show you how each one of them worked. So here is an example that they want you to look at. All right, several print statements. Print, hello there, my name is, and Carl. So that comes out on 3 separate lines. When you use the end equals and the empty quotes, that says don't move to the next line but stay on the same line. So here it goes hello there and stays on the same line. And then my name is ... Carl, question mark, and all that's on the same line because they use the end equals in quote or open quotes there. And that holds it on the same line. Okay, so here again is some multiple answer. We pick what we think will print out. Select the statement that prints the following. So would it be this one, or this one? And you pick which one you think it is, and it tells you it either is or it isn't. And it wasn't because my quotes weren't matching. Which statement print output on the same line? It was the end equals with the quotes. Okay, down here they want us to type an answer in that fits what they're asking for. Type a statement that prints the following. So we would do our print, open parentheses, open quote, and hello. And technically it's italics, but we won't even go there. We're just going to close the quotes and the parentheses, hit check, and see that it did like what we typed in. So if I'm not sure what's going on there and I don't have any idea how to answer, I can always hit this show answer twice and it's going to tell me exactly what I need to type in. Okay, here's another one, instructor note. So if you don't know what to do down here, what you're going to do is run this video and one of the professors is going to explain to you step by step what's needed down here. Okay, all right, so I'm not going to launch that because it's a video within a video. It gets kind of weird there. So you would run the video here to watch those specific instructions. Okay, so this is where a lot of people get confused. They don't know what to do here. So there's a couple of ways you can deal with it. You can delete this line and put your code here and run it. As long as it passed the test, all tests passed, you're good. The other thing we can do here is not delete that line. I don't think they're okay. And I can print it below it and run it. And I think it does the same thing. So it doesn't matter. As long as I put it either here or below here, I want to put my solution where it says to put the solution. So that's where I type the code that I'm going to need to type to meet the requirements up here. Okay, again, they're going to ask me a question or ask me to write some code, output the following figure with asterisks, and white space, blank line matters. Make sure your white space exactly matches the expected output. So down here below where it says your solution goes here, we start typing our solution using a series of print statements to form what we see up here. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 asterisks on the first line. So that's how many I need here inside of the print statement on my first line. There's 2 on the second line, but they're spaced out with 4 in between. So I would do 1 space, 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 and then number 2. You can use the one above it to judge where you have the 1 at the beginning and the 1 at the end. And then you have 3 other print statements to finish forming that figure 8. And you hit run once you're done. And if it comes back and says all tests pass and you get your check mark over here, then you're good to go. Okay, so again, different types of activities require different input or output from you based on what it's asking you to do. So given the variable number or variable num cars equals 9, which statement prints 9? Num cars in quote would print the word num cars. So it would have to be num cars without the quotes, and I get my check mark. Write a statement that prints the value of the variable num people. Okay, so just like we saw up there, we would do print and num, and I have to do it just like it shows in the example, num people, and put it in parentheses and check that. Now again, if I was not sure, I can hit show answer twice and it'll show me exactly right here what I was supposed to type over here. Okay, here we're looking at printing 2 things on the same line. The text wage colon, and then we're going to separate that and have the variable wage after it. So this shows us wage colon and then whatever's in that variable at the time it's printed is what you see at the end of that line. Okay, so getting a new line, we can use the /n. So 1/n says print a 1 and then come down to the next line. Then we print a 2, then come down to the next line and print our 3. Okay, so here we'd print 1, 2, 3, and then a space, and that's what they're looking at. That blank print statement gives us a blank line there, and then print ABC, ABC. Okay, the tool below allows for experimenting with print statements. So we can change the string here. Right now it's printing change this string with an exclamation point at the end of it. And they want us to change it. The variable country population equals this and country name equals China have been defined and can be used in the simulation, in the simulator. So they want us to print out this information. So I'm going to take out what's in there and print the population of, and they want country name here. Comma, and then we have more text, was, let's be consistent, was, and then we have the variable country underscore population, comma, and then we've got more text. So I'm going to put it in quotes. 2011, period, end quote, and they already have the end of the parentheses. So that was a long one there with 2 variables. in between a good bit of text, the population of, then the country name, was, and then the population, country population, and then in 2011 period. Okay. If we assume that the variable age equals 22, pet equals dog, and pet name equals Gerald, what is the output of UR? Okay, so I would type URs because that's in quotes. It comes out just like that. And then age is going to be 22. So we look up here, age equals 22. So that's what goes right there. And then years old, period. And yes, the period needs to be there. It's inside the quotation marks. And I got that one correct. Let's say I don't have any idea what's going on with the next one, so I'm going to hit show answer twice. And look at here, it shows me exactly what is going to print out with the next one. So pet name is Gerald. So we start with Gerald. And then the text "the" is in quotes. Gerald the, and then the pet up here is dog. So down here, Gerald the dog, and then is in quotes, so that comes out just like that. And then age is 22. And again, we look up here for age 22, and we substitute that in down there. And even though they gave me the answer, once I check it here and I've got it right, oh, I didn't need a period on that one. Once I get it right, I get my check mark and I'm all good. Doesn't matter how long it takes me to get it correct. All right. Here's another one of those where we run it and it's going to walk us through. And if you're ever not sure what's going on there, just post it in the discussions or send me an email and let us help you walk through it. Okay, so they want us to type the program's output, and we have print string 1, string 2, adds a single space between string 1 and string 2. Print with nothing inside of it automatically adds a new line after the output, so don't forget to press the enter or the return key to add the additional new line as needed. Okay, so click here for the example. All right, and it says if the program is string 2 equals world, print hello string 2, then the output is hello world, followed by a new line. Okay. Print Joe is good, so we would see Joe is good with the period at the end of it. Let's check that. I forgot to hit the enter, so that's why it was didn't like my answers. So at the end, I'm going to hit enter and ask it to check it again. Interesting, right? Right, now I'm going to move on to number 2. Ron is good. And I'll check that. And it says, wait a minute, it should be after each word should have its own new line. All right, so I can go back and try it again. So we do Ron, enter, is, enter, good, and make sure and get the last one, enter. There you go. Okay, next. Person age equals 20. Each item in the output will be separated by space. So print Ron is colon and person age. So Ron is colon 20. And there we go. And don't forget to hit enter at the end for the new line. Okay, number 4. Person's age is 19. Joe is person's age and then years. So we do Joe is 19 years, period, enter. Perfect. All right, here's another one. They just want us to watch as it walks us through it. So for number 1, the input statement gets an input value from the keyboard and puts that value into the best friend variable. So input would pick up whatever the input is coming from the computer, which in this case was Marty McFly, and it put it in the best friend variable. Okay, now we're on number 2. Best friend's value can then be used in subsequent processing and outputs. So my best friend is Marty McFly, and they use the best friend variable there for the substitution. Okay, we're done with that one. Got our check mark. Which statement reads a user entered string into variable num cars? This is close, but input is a function, so it does have the parentheses, so num cars equals input with parentheses. No, yes. That in quotations, I was getting them confused in my head, so I had to make sure I was saying the right one. Complete a statement that reads a user entered string into variable myvar. Okay, so my underscore var equals input. And again, if I'm not sure, I hit show answer twice and it's going to show me exactly what I should be typing. Okay, the input statement typically uses the string that we just looked at. If we want to change that to an integer, we'll use the int command in front of it, like we do here. In one case, it's a string, which is ASCII characters, and the other case, it is numbers, which you can do math functions with. Okay, and there's another one. So 2 examples of using the integer function to create an integer variable here, using the input statement to input an integer as opposed to text. So type a statement that converts the string 15 to an integer and assigns the result to myvar. So again, let's just assume that is like way out there and I have no idea where to even start. I'm going to come over here and go show answer. I'm going to look at this and say, oh, that's what they wanted me to do. It's gonna, the result to my var, so my var equals, and it doesn't go away, so I can continue typing and still be able to see what's there. And I can use a space around the equal sign or not, but I want to convert, like they said, 15 to an integer. So int and 15 in the quotation marks inside the parentheses, and looks good. Check it. I'm all good there. Complete the code so that the new var is equal to the entered number plus 5. So new var equals my underscore var plus 5. And I can hit enter there or check, and it checks my answer. Okay, so here we're looking at sending out a message with the input statement that we're converting to an integer. So hourly wage, enter hourly wage is the text that's going out with that statement, so that it then sits there and waits on the input, and it is converting it to an integer. All right. Again, if you need help with this area, you would come here and watch the video that they have to help you walk through that section. Okay, so here we're going to enter a number in this section and click run, and once I do, it's going to use that as the input here. So that becomes human years. Enter the age of the dog in human years. So we entered 3. It then takes 7 times 3, the human years, and stores that in dog years. And then it prints out 2 lines, 3 years, 3 human years is about, and then it moves to the next line, or no, it doesn't, because we use the end statement, 21 dog years. Okay, and here's challenge activity 1.2.4. Again, if you have any questions over this, you want details, here's the help video right above it. Okay, the following program reads 2 numbers from the input, assigns them to num1 and num2, and then outputs the sum of those 2 numbers. Num1 input, num2 input, print num1 plus num2. All right. Copy the code provided to see how code is executed in the autograph system. So we're going to copy this, come down here, and you can either delete that line or paste it below that line. And run it. Now it's going to test it. We didn't have to give it any input here. And it does say all tests passed. So what did it test it with? 5 and 10 and got 15, 6 and 3 and got 9. So that's how that works. Okay, here's challenge activity 1.2.5. Read user input and print to the output. And again, if you need any more detail with it, here's the video up here to assist you. Okay, so you want to write a line of code that reads an integer value from input into user num3. Write a print statement that outputs the product of user num1, 2, and 3. The product is multiply as opposed to the sum is adding them together. So the product is when we multiply the 2 numbers. All right, so what we're going to look for here is it wants us to more or less do another one of these for num3. All right, so I can change that one to user num3. right, and then it wants us to output the product, and I'm going to print user num1 times user num2 times user num3. We run that. It should come back all tests passed. It's going to multiply and see if it comes out with the correct answer. And it did with both of these sets of inputs. 2 times 3 times 5 and 6 times 4 times 9. Okay, that's end of section 1.2. We're about to move into 1.3, variables and assignments.